We're in for a wild ride today, so buckle up and let the carnage begin. Here are 20 exclusive dashcam videos our fans sent us this week. Josh was headed down a New Hampshire highway when the driver of an SUV dove across every lane to avoid missing an exit on the left. When the SUV cut across Josh's path, he honked to alert the driver to his presence, but it was too late. She pit maneuvered her Mazda SUV off the front of his Mercury Milan before spinning off the highway. The SUV then hit a light pole, knocking it over. Incredibly, neither driver was injured in the collision, and the only other casualty was the SUV driver's hat, which went flying out her open window as she spun across the highway. A state trooper interviewed the SUV driver before watching Josh's dashcam footage. Josh said the trooper was visibly ticked off as the SUV driver's story did not match what happened in the video. The SUV driver's insurance provider paid Josh for his totaled Mercury after his dashcam video proved exactly what had happened. He told us he'd only installed the dashcam 3 months prior to this collision. He also said a close call inspired the purchase, and it's crazy to think that another reckless driver might have saved him thousands of dollars in this incident by inspiring him to buy a dashcam. Joshua was a mile from home when he approached an intersection where cross-traffic had stop signs, but Joshua did not. This means he should have been able to drive right through without slowing down, but that's not what happened. The Chevy SUV pulled past the stop sign and into Joshua's path. He slammed on the brakes, swerved, and honked, but none of it prevented a head-on collision that pushed Joshua's Jeep off the road and into a ditch where it rolled over. Another motorist ahead of Joshua heard the wreck and turned around while calling 911. 3 minutes later, first responders arrived at the scene and used the jaws of life to get Joshua out of his Jeep. We'll spare you the gory details, but Joshua had to have 3 surgeries as a result of this collision before being sent home 3 days later to continue recovering. Thankfully, something good did come of this. A month later, that intersection was converted into a 4-way stop in an effort to prevent similar collisions from occurring in the future. Robert and his friends were talking about the fences in the pickup ahead of them when they suddenly flew out of the bed before scattering all over the road.
Are you dead?
Thankfully, the fence panels didn't hit anything other than the road surface, and only one of them was seriously damaged. Robert pulled over, and he and his friends helped the pickup driver load the fences back in his truck. Peter had just turned onto a road and was about to turn back off of it when he was suddenly rear-ended by a pickup truck pulling a trailer that never even bothered to slow down. Peter told us the pickup driver fled the scene after the collision, and when police arrived, they found Peter at fault in spite of his dashcam footage. The pickup driver was never seen again. It looks to me like the pickup driver had planned to recklessly pass Peter on the left, but Peter started turning before he could. Either that, or the pickup driver was seriously distracted until just before the collision occurred. Regardless, it's strange that he got away with a blatant hit and run. Even if the cops do think the wreck was Peter's fault, in no way does that make leaving the scene of a collision okay. Peter told us he's been a fan of Wham Bam for a long time, but he never thought his own footage would show up on our channel. He's now in the process of replacing his wrecked Honda Pilot with another Honda Pilot. BRZ Matt watched a semi ahead run over a trash bag in the highway. The impact made the trash bag explode, sending a whole lot of something scattering all over the highway. BRZ Matt couldn't avoid running some of them over, but thankfully none of his tires were punctured by the mystery debris. If you have any idea what all these little black things are, let us know in the comments. Someone must know. Chris was on his way to work when he experienced a perfect example of why you should never tailgate the vehicle ahead of you. Chris told us that if he'd been following the pickup ahead of him any closer, he would have been unable to avoid a rear-end collision. While that's true, we also need to point out that the shoulder is not an overflow lane. The shoulder is for stopped vehicles, not for going around someone you were following too closely when they suddenly stop. Give yourself adequate follow distance and you won't need to swerve onto the shoulder. David's mother was driving her Mazda MPV with David in the passenger seat when she proceeded through an intersection with a green light, but the driver of an oncoming Jeep ran his red light and turned in front of her. After the collision, the Mazda's engine immediately died. David thought the Jeep driver was fleeing, so he quickly read the license plate out loud for his mother's dashcam, but they ended up stopping in a nearby parking lot. Sadly, the Jeep driver was uninsured, and David told us the cops didn't cite him for this, or for running a red light. He then claimed that David's mother had run a red light and tried to get her insurance to pay for the Jeep. This dashcam footage is the only thing that prevented David's mother from getting blamed for the collision. If you need a dashcam, you'll find links to the ones we use in our own vehicles in the video description. They then found out that their uninsured motorist coverage, which David's mother pays extra for every month, only provides $3,500 in coverage. Peter wanted to encourage our viewers to check your insurance policies carefully. He also said a tow truck claiming to be affiliated with AAA towed their vehicle away, but later they found out it wasn't, and they got charged $300 for the tow. Peter said, "Know who is towing you." Braun was on his way home from running errands when a black SUV flew past him down the highway, but another pair of headlights was following right behind it. A Minnesota state trooper in a Dodge Charger turned on his party lights and pulled over the SUV for some instant justice. Braun told us he loves watching Wham Bam Dashcam and Wham Bam Teslacam videos. Not only does he find them entertaining, but he said they've also helped him learn to anticipate driver behavior and drive defensively, mitigating several close calls. Glad to be of service, Braun. Israel was planning to make a left turn when he noticed a sign indicating the road was closed and that no left turns were allowed. Someone else hadn't noticed the signs and was stopped while waiting to turn. Israel told us that when the Jeep ahead of him suddenly swerved, revealing the other Jeep stopped in the road, he tried to swerve around it. Instead, he lost control of his Kia Optima and rear-ended the Jeep at high speed. When police arrived, they found Israel responsible for the collision, which is pretty standard in rear-end cases. He told us he's planning to fight the ruling in court, where his dashcam footage will be a key piece of evidence. Auntie was on his way to shop for a stroller with his pregnant wife when they watched a truck driver start losing control of his semi-truck on the icy highway. Thankfully, the trucker was able to regain control before Auntie continued past it. He told us that winter tires are mandatory in Finland, which is why he was able to maintain control of his Toyota Avensis. Justin's wife Mackenzie was stopped at a red light when the turn lane next to her got a green arrow to turn left. When traffic in that lane began moving, the driver of the pickup behind her did too, before rear-ending her VW Jetta. Thankfully, nobody was seriously injured in the collision, but fixing the rear bumper cover of Mackenzie's Jetta did cost $3,000. When a deputy responded, the pickup driver admitted fault at the scene and was apologetic. Justin told us that when the pickup driver's husband arrived at the scene, he told Mackenzie this is the 6th time in a year his wife has rear-ended someone. Justin wanted to shout out his wife for not rear-ending the car ahead of her. Dale was headed to the airport when he watched a Tesla behaving badly fly past him at well over the speed limit, especially considering that Dale admitted to driving 15 over the limit himself.
That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive. That Tesla man can't drive.
Thankfully, one of Florida's finest spotted the speeding Model 3 and pulled it over for some instant justice. When the driver of the Honda Accord that had been driving just as fast saw the party lights come on, they slowed way down. Dale wanted to shout out his 3 kids, Kyla, Ty, and Tristan. He told us he got them all dash cams for Christmas, thanks in no small part to our channel. Carl watched a car speed past him on the shoulder before slamming into construction barriers, then ricochet off the guardrail into traffic. The out-of-control car clipped an SUV and a pickup truck before finally regaining control on an exit ramp. Carl told us he stopped to check on the drivers involved, and amazingly, none of them had been hurt. He didn't tell us what the reason for this multi-vehicle collision was, but he did say the pickup driver was very upset. Aaron had just exited an interstate highway and was waiting at a traffic signal. When it turned green, a van on his right crossed Aaron's lane to make a left turn. Notice anything strange about the signs at this intersection? The road the van driver just turned onto is one way, and he headed down it the wrong way. Aaron honked to warn the van driver, but it didn't seem to help. Aaron told us he called 911 to report the incident, but he doubts anything ever came of it. This actually isn't the first wrong-way driver he's sent us. We featured another one of his submissions in a previous episode of Dashcam Stories. We'll put a link to that episode at the end of this one in case you haven't seen it yet. Aaron's video is number 13. For now, let's keep the show rolling, or crashing as the case may be. William's mother-in-law was driving down a California road when a Ford Focus suddenly pulled out and stopped right in front of her. William told us his mother-in-law's Chevy Trax automatically contacted emergency services after it was totaled by the collision. Meanwhile, the Ford Focus driver fled the scene. Thankfully, nobody was injured by the impact. When police investigated, they found out the Ford Focus was registered to an elderly woman without any insurance. Definitely not the man who'd been driving when the collision occurred. William wanted to shout out his children Edward and Isabella, who've been watching Wham Bam videos with him for years. If watching our videos is your family ritual, don't forget to subscribe so you'll see every episode in your feed. Kathan was on his way home from work when a pickup driver ran over a chunk of wood, sending it hurtling through the air before smashing into the hood and A-pillar of Kathan's Mazda CX-30. Both drivers pulled over to check for damage, and that's when Kathan found a dent in his A-pillar. He told us he'll have to pay his $1,000 Canadian deductible to get the damage fixed, unless the pickup driver is found responsible. FP was behind a Subaru waiting to make a legal right on red, but when the Subaru driver pulled past the stop bar, FP assumed they'd be out of the way as he crept forward to check for traffic. Sadly, he was wrong.
Dang it.
The Subaru driver had changed their mind and stopped, and FP rear-ended them before realizing what had happened. Both drivers stopped at a nearby gas station and exchanged information. The impact totaled FP's Chevy Cruze after the repair cost exceeded $3,400 US. But thankfully, nobody was injured in the collision. Seth is a rideshare driver who had just picked up a passenger and was headed to Salt Lake City. When an oncoming SUV driver turned on his high beams, Seth was blinded and didn't see deer crossing the road until the last second. Incredibly, Seth's swerve resulted in missing the deer by inches. He pulled over to see if the deer was okay and to check for damage, but he told us the deer ran off like nothing had happened. We all know what it's like to be driving along and be surprised by wildlife out of nowhere. Thankfully, Seth was driving at a speed appropriate for the conditions, so he was able to act and prevent a tragedy. Lucy was stopped at a traffic light when, BAM!
Are you kidding me?
A Kia Soul driver threaded the needle between a Jeep and a box truck only to rear-end Lucy's Audi A4. What was her excuse for this recklessness? Lucy told us she said she was running late to see a movie. She also insisted on settling the matter without involving insurance because she already has another insurance claim open. Lucy got her insurance information anyway, just in case she doesn't follow through. Lucy told us she bought one of the dashcams we recommend in the description, and she made sure to use our coupon code to get the exclusive discount. Her husband Steve is also considering getting one. Jacob was driving in Plano, Texas when he spotted the Mystery Machine. Who knew Mystery Inc. had upgraded to a Tesla Model X? While the gang enjoys those Falcon Wing doors and the active spoiler, you should go enjoy this episode, the one featuring Aaron's previous submission. Or watch this one to see another cool art car, the Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters. Don't forget to send us your videos using the link in the description, and we'll be back with 20 more next week.
Wham! Bam, we got a Patreon man. Please support the show.